Thanks everybody for letting me come out here today. This is quite the venue, huh? I think through the grapevine that this used to be like a tent or something. Like this was not even like a thing before. So this is a pretty cool spot. I'm happy to be here. So as Cheryl said, we're going to be talking about AI a lot today, and specifically about how you can use it for travel and tourism and everything that you're using in your day-to-day lives. Of course. Right on. Yeah, so a little bit more about me. As Cheryl said, my name is Mike Lannen, the founder of Eternity out of Burlington. I'm a husband and dad Lego nerd and artificial intelligence super fan. My much better half there, Molly. Basically, everything that's in the non-digital world, if it can be printed or a logo put on it or these really cool paddles, her company makes. So we make a good match. And as Cheryl said, I have AuDHD, which is a combination of autism and ADHD, which I suffered most of my early life through, but I've really shifted that mindset towards a thriving mindset, because with it comes a lot of beneficial things like being overly prepared for stuff and thinking about every possible bad situation. So coming with like backup projectors and backup screens and all of those things. Speaking of anxiety, most of the folks that I talk to have some level of anxiety about AI. Whether it's they love it so much and they can't keep up with all the new things that are coming out, or they want to like kill it with fire and think that it's going to kind of take over the world and steal everything from us. I kind of fall in betweenish, but lean more towards drinking all of the AI Kool-Aid as I can. So what's on the agenda for today? We're going to be talking about kind of a top level what AI is and what it can do, just to sort of level the playing field. We're going to do a bunch of live demos, and if you brought your laptop, definitely have that ready to go. And I'm going to show you how you can actually put things to work. So this isn't going to be a presentation of, hey, you should use AI, okay, goodbye. It's going to give you very actionable things that you can take with you, do right now, and start putting into place. And on that, feel free to take notes as you're going along, but at the end of the presentation, you can send me a text. You're not added to any kind of a spam list, I promise, but you'll get a full copy of this presentation, all the notes, all the resources. So if you didn't bring your laptop, you can do it all at your office. And please feel free to interrupt me. I have a bunch of kind of scheduled question times throughout. But if you have a burning question, don't feel like you have to wait till the end, wave a paddle around, and I'd love to answer it. All right, and some quick housekeeping before we hop in. Restrooms are to your left through that door and a building over there. Take out your laptop if you haven't already. The Wi-Fi is Owl's Nest Lux Speed is the wireless that will come up. It doesn't have a password. And then I'll be sharing this link throughout, so if you don't get it at this second, that's fine. But this link here, the bit.ly/whitemountains25, if you go to that URL, it has a couple of resources that we can use today. This is more for the folks that have their laptops out. But again, I'll be sharing this URL throughout when you need it. So it's bit.ly/whitemountains25. All right, so speaking of these paddles, you might be wondering, like, are these a fan? Why does Mike have these out here? We're going to use them for a couple of polling exercises throughout today. First off, if you've used ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or the 11 billion other AI tools that are out there in some capacity, robot side. If you have not used any of those kinds of tools, human side. So if you've used AI, robot. If you have not, human. Right? Mostly a sea of robots and a handful of humans. So when I first started speaking on AI about 4 years ago or so, which for some is like 4 years more than they've been using it, most of the time it was human side, throughout. People had not really heard of any of these tools. ChatGPT wasn't out yet. I got into it really early with some precursors to ChatGPT and saw that it was going to be a lot more than just a fad. I saw it as like the internet coming out for the first time. And I was alive when that was like first starting to happen in more like the consumer and kind of home side of things. And at first there were folks that were like, I call them never AIers now. They were like never internet people. They kind of hold on to using a fax machine, like a paper Rolodex. And I think you can only hold on for so long with evolutionary changes in technology. And it's kind of like using a squirt gun against the ocean to try and hold up against it. So what is AI? Dictionary definition is basically something that mimics human behavior in some form or another. So we've all been using AI for decades now in smaller portions. So autocomplete on our phone for texting, Netflix recommendations, Amazon recommendations, the GPS on your phone. That's all using AI and machine learning of some kind. Also, what I kind of call the dumb AIs like Alexa and OK Google that are mostly good at just like setting a timer or letting you know if you need an umbrella. You can't really get it to do or create anything for you. What's really kind of impressive about most of these new AI tools now is they can create text content, create videos, photos, audio, sound very, very human-like for better or for worse. And on that, I like to think that the moment we're in today is an artificial intelligence revolution. So we all learned this in history class in middle school, high school about the Industrial Revolution, the Electrical Revolution, information technology revolution when everybody was trying to convert everything from paper to spreadsheets. We're now in the artificial intelligence revolution. The thing that's dramatically different, at least to me, about this revolution is how fast it's happening. When like the Industrial Revolution was happening, people had time to like upskill and learn a new skill and transition from kind of one thing to another in a matter of like years or even decades. We have like weeks, months at a time. So like if you haven't used like some of these tools for years, it's almost like you're decades behind trying to catch up, which can be very overwhelming. And I describe it a little bit to kind of dating myself a little bit. But if you remember like Netscape Navigator and the original America Online, You've Got Mail, everybody was trying to fight for like, use our tool, use our version. Now it's like, use Gemini, use Claude, use ChatGPT. Like, which one do you use? And that's just, 4 of the 400 million different tools. So it can be very overwhelming to keep up with that. And on that, there's lots of different types of AI. So like predictive AI, think of that for like financial forecasting or weather forecasting. Generative AI is more like ChatGPT and Gemini, where it can generate and create content. Conversational AI, which is kind of making a splash now as kind of a new version, is think of calling into a phone center, but not those dumb robots of the past where it could only listen for a very particular keyword and you just wanted to say a word that was a little bit colorful to try and get a human on the other end. This new conversational AI, you can talk to it just like I'm talking now, and it fully understands your context and can talk back. And I'll be showing you some demos of that. And then lastly, for different types of AI, agentic AI or agents. Agent AI is, think of that as the next step into something that can do anything and everything that you can do on your computer. So if you've used ChatGPT, it's a very basic kind of form of AI. You give it a prompt, it gives you output of some sort of context. You can't tell ChatGPT to go book you a flight or control your mouse and keyboard. With agentic AI, also called operator AI, it can control your computer. You give it a task just by typing or talking, and it controls your mouse. It controls your keyboard, can view websites just like we view it, click on checkboxes. You could tell it book a flight to Tokyo. It would take your credit card and book it. That technology exists now. It's a little bit expensive, but as soon as that comes down, that's going to be how I think everybody uses a computer. So with all of that. Is this when Skynet just takes over and Terminator starts running around and take over the world and take over all of our jobs? Not yet, I don't think. We have the ability to control that. If you open up any form of news, I think humans will get us there far faster than AI or any kind of robots, just to be kind of more realist. On that, though, my favorite question to ask, what percentage chance do you think that AI has of ending humanity in any point in time? Not just your lifetime, but any point in time. If you think 100% AI is going to, like, we're cooked, end everything, raise your paddle. I'm 100%. Nobody's 100%. All right, I'm 100%. 75%. Couple. 50%. Coin flip. All right, 25%. And then 0, we're totally safe. AI is never going to end us. All right, couple people think we're safe. All right. So on that, on a more positive note, whatever you really like dislike doing, whether it be like a tedious task of creating content or replying to emails or receiving phone calls, AI is going to be really good or pretty great at it. And at this moment in time, I describe AI as the worst it will ever be. Like right now, it's trash, it's garbage, it's like dial-up level kind of internet. But look at what it can do. Imagine in the next 5 years, we won't be able to tell what is real or not anymore. It's going to be an interesting ride the next couple of years. On that, while we're riding it, on the positive side, I think that AI can give everybody inside this room and the world superpowers if used correctly. Like any tool, it can be used for good or for evil. And on average, employees that get properly trained inside AI on how to use those particular tools for their job, again, this is just an average, save 1.75 hours per day, each and every day moving forward. And that's my favorite use case, I guess, of AI. It's one of the first pieces of technology where instead of sucking you into the system, like social media, again, for better or for worse, mostly worse, it kind of is made by design to get you to use it more and to keep you there and to make you addicted to it. Certainly doesn't save you any time. AI, you can find out a way to shave off 10 minutes on a particular task here, an hour on a particular task there, 10 hours on a task there, and then you have that time back forever to spend it on the slopes, taking a hike, whatever you want to do. Okay, any questions on that kind of top level sort of entry point into AI or concerns? Okay. So what can this be used for good? On a kind of top level, it can be used for marketing content. That's, I think, what we first started using it for at our firm, and then training our clients on how to use it properly. Some people love creating content, some do not. Some might have like this idea inside their head, but they're not great writers. So it's kind of a universal level playing field. My brain works very differently, so I have like 11 billion things going on in my head. And sometimes when I try to describe that to somebody else, it just kind of sounds like a crazy person. So I could just dump it into ChatGPT and say, make this more fluid or make this flow more for like a neurotypical person. And it's game changing for me. So for those that have not used ChatGPT or any of these kind of AI tools, it's basically like a big open text box and you just tell it what you want. So at first blush, that seems like a very like low learning curve, but there's not really like an instruction manual or like, this is how you should communicate to this thing. So I find a lot of folks popping in like a very simple prompt or like a text message to it of like one sentence, and they're not describing like what they want it to do or their target audience or giving it information about their organization. So kind of the old adage, like garbage in, garbage out. If you don't prepare it like you were preparing like an employee, you're going to get really bad output. And on that, ChatGPT and most of these other tools, but particularly focusing on ChatGPT today, They have a free version and some different paid versions. Time to use the paddles again. If you have the free version, human side. If you have a paid version, robot side. So free, human side, paid. Okay, so almost like the reverse of the first question, a lot of human sides. So I describe the free version of ChatGPT and these tools like an unpaid high school intern. You're only going to get as much out of that as you have paid into it. So if you've used the free version and you're like, this kind of sounds generic, or this doesn't sound like me, think of that as if you had given that to an intern and not given them like any background information on your resort or property or attraction. And then you're basically setting them up for failure. In the paid version, we'll be going over this in more detail. You can do so many more things inside there, train it on your data more, create custom robots, basically custom GPTs they're called, on particular tasks. And we're going to build one of those today. That is just night and day, apples and zebras different for that $20 a month. So if you only remember one thing out of this entire presentation today, it would be to just work inside your budget to get $20 for 1 month and try the paid version. You guaranteed will save at least several hours per month on it to pay back. And I'm not affiliated with ChatGPT. I don't have stock in them. It may sound like I'm just get this paid version. It doesn't benefit me really in any way. They also have a Teams version. So if you're a part of a marketing department, or which is 2 or more people to qualify for the Teams version, you can share all of your content together. Just makes it a lot easier to collaborate rather than having separate versions.
To verify, that's $25 per person.
Correct. Yep. Indeed. When the paid versions first came out, because they didn't have a paid version when it first came out, folks were pretty hesitant. I went all in because I just drank all the AI Kool-Aid. I looked at it as we're in the Teams version for $25 a month. Every single one of my 10 employees has a 24/7 fully trained assistant that can do anything and everything for them and is never going to complain, never going to get sick. I certainly was not going to hire, I would love to, but I just don't have the budget to give 10 new employees on board and give them all an assistant. So that's kind of my mindset on this. If you're another app to pay $25 a month for, it is like giving the keys to do anything and everything if you know how to use it. And then it may sound confusing on all those different versions because it kind of is, and engineers make these paid plans. So this slide kind of goes over what you get and don't get inside those various versions. Okay, so anybody that is currently has their laptop out, are you guys inside ChatGPT at the moment? And if not, hop in there if you have it. Yes. It won't count for these specific settings. However, I do talk about Copilot and where you can change some of these settings. This particular one has to do with security inside ChatGPT. So for the folks that were holding up this side and using the free version, that EULA agreement, that kind of legal mumbo jumbo that you scroll through and I promise none of you probably read and clicked I agree, you gave them permission to take any and all of your content, put it back inside their training model for ChatGPT, and use that to inform other outputs of other people that might type in looking for content on this particular topic. So you might not know that. Judging by the look on some of your faces, you're like, what? What is that? So you've given them permission to do that. You might not like that idea. I certainly don't. So you can pop into the top right-hand corner of ChatGPT and go into settings. And then there's an area called data controls. So settings, data controls. And then there's an option called improve the model for everyone. So settings, data controls, improve the model for everyone. On kind of first blush, that sounds great. You want to improve things for everyone. That used to be called data privacy and security, and people wanted to turn that feature off, don't train the model. So you turn that off, and then everything that you put inside there no longer goes back into their training system and just keeps your data more safe and secure. Any questions on that? Okay. And then inside this slide, in the slide notes, if you download it, there's specific settings for Copilot, for Gemini, for Claude. Even LinkedIn has a EULA agreement that you've signed that says any LinkedIn post you put inside there can train their AI model. Just nobody ever reads those agreements. And this goes through in the back end of the slide exactly where to turn off those settings. Another thing that you can do inside ChatGPT in both the free and the paid version is customize it. So this also lives in that top right-hand corner, and there's an area called Customize. And this is where you can control how you want your ChatGPT to interface with you. You can give it like a personality. You can tell it to not use particular words like delve or other kind of weird adjectives that are kind of common tells of AI. You can tell it like to never use emojis, give it a little bit of background information about yourself or your organization, and it just makes all of your future outputs and content with it listen to that set of instructions. By default, that's just empty, so it's going to be kind of generic and vanilla. So a very quick and easy way in both the free and paid version of these tools to customize it. And then another option that I also find most folks are not taking a look at also lives inside settings in an area called personalization and memory. So ChatGPT launched this a couple, like 6 or 7 months ago. And every now and then when you're typing with it, it will remember a certain thing that you said. If you were like, I don't like that, don't ever use that type of word, or remember that I live inside Burlington, Vermont. It will add those to a memory database that, again, kind of informs that future content. You may or may not want to go through that and remove some of those things that are inside there because it may be informing content and stuff that you didn't want it to remember, or you might just want to turn this off. I personally am not like recommending this to everyone, but I traded my security and privacy for convenience like a long time ago. Before AI existed, like Google's been tracking all this stuff. Facebook tracks way more than this stuff, certainly like even more than TikTok does. So it's up to you and how you want to use this. I've gone all in. I've given it like my food allergies, food that I like, my birth date, my height, my weight, every single thing about me. So if I ask it, hey, I'm looking to plan a trip, or give me a place to eat, it knows everything about me. Again, I just assume that everybody else already has this information about me. I might as well make it convenient for me. But if you don't like that, go inside here and turn that stuff off. Okay, the next kind of main reason for upgrading to the $20 a month version of ChatGPT is to create what's called a custom GPT. Think of a custom GPT as a kind of pre-programmed, ready-to-go prompt that you don't have to always type in that very long-winded prompt. Say one of your tasks is creating social media content or blog content or sales kind of proposal cover letters. You can give it very specific details of, I want you to be a social media content creator. Here's 12 dozen examples of our past social posts. Use this type of tone and voice. You can pop all of that in, and we're going to walk through this in a moment. And then you don't have to always remember that stuff. It will live as kind of a shortcut in the left-hand side of your ChatGPT. You pop inside there, and you can just say, give me 10 social posts. That's all you need to say because it has all of that stuff kind of ready to go. So this first example of a custom GPT that we built is what's called a branding copy document builder. Basically, it's a way to kind of establish your company background, tone of voice, target audience. You might have some of this content that exists elsewhere, but if you don't, it's one of the quickest ways that you can create this type of a document to then train the AI. This is who we are. This is who we're targeting. This is how we want you to talk. So we've built a custom GPT that can do this, and then it creates an output that you can then kind of pop into a Google document or a Word document that has all of that information inside there. So for show and tell time, do. This is what that GPT looks like on the front end. And again, it lives over in this left-hand column here. So you can always pop into those very particular GPTs that you've built. We have some for creating like SEO titles and descriptions for web pages. You can just pop a page inside there and it just gives you a nice title and description. I have one for LinkedIn posts, for social media strategy, for prepping for calls. Literally like every task that I do, I've created something that shaves off a minute here, 5 minutes there, hours there. So this particular branding copy document one, just to kind of show you what it looks like under the hood, there's no like coding or programming required. You literally fill out a form of what you want this thing to do. So think of it as kind of describing like a job description of what you want someone to do for a very particular task. You just give it a name, a description, and then this is kind of the meat and potatoes, if you will, the instructions. So in this example for this branding copy document, I've given it a role that you're a branding copy document builder. These are your specific set of instructions. These are the steps that I want you to take. These are the questions that I want you to ask the user to kind of establish what their tone of voice is. So this is not just like a one sentence or even like a 2-paragraph prompt. It's more like a brief if you were giving this to another human. And then we tell it exactly what we want the output to look like, all the headings that we want. So the reason, kind of the main reason for doing this versus just popping into a normal chat and typing that in is you're going to have to course correct stuff a lot less because you've told it exactly, this is what I want you to do, this is what I don't want you to do, and it will then listen to that. But no coding required. It's really like the human language that is now how you kind of program these things. So once that's established, you can then kind of go back to the front end here. I'll just say, hey, Janet. Janet is our kind of like personified ChatGPT who's kind of like a firecracker. So look who it is, another human needing a branding magic. What a shocker. Is there any existing content that I can use as a starting point? So we've prompted her to kind of walk the user step by step to do this. So I'm going to start by just giving it a couple of web pages here. I'm going to pull some from Owl's Nest. So this is going to go search the Owl Nest homepage. Internet agrees with us. And then she starts asking those very specific questions that we put inside that very custom prompt inside the instructions. And because we've given it a little bit of foundational information about just popping in like 2 web pages from the site, it's also kind of further prompting and helping you along. So like, what's the brand's mission and vision? Like, what's the bigger purpose of Owl Nest Resort? What's its long-term dreams? What makes a brand unique? Like, why would someone choose Owl's Nest Resort over any other? So it kind of helps that person fill this out. Just for time, I'm not going to answer every single one of these questions right now, but I'd recommend you do if you end up using this tool yourself. I'm just going to say, I am lazy. Do it for me, please. All right, so you're outsourcing the thinking to me. Fine. Here's my best take on Owl's Nest Resort based on what I can dig up. If anything's off, feel free to correct me, or don't. Your call. So then it goes through. In the prompt of this, we've instructed it to like look for a slogan. If not, and if there's not one, to like make one up. But then it outputs the brand story, brand overview, positioning, vision, like. If we were to create this from scratch, it would certainly take us more than the like 30 seconds that this is going to be done. Is this going to be 100% perfect and like ready to go and copy and paste? No. Is that the case like when a human does a first draft of something? Certainly not. But this gets you to like 70% in like 60 seconds, and then maybe take a half an hour to kind of fix it up. And because of those instructions that we gave it in that GPT, it just always comes up with this exact layout, brand feel, brand keywords, tone of voice, target audiences, example personas of like specific people to target like a luxury wedding planner, a golf aficionado, literally in this case, just by giving it 2 pages on a website. So if you answered more of these questions, it would create it even better. And then you can take that output and copy it into a Google Doc or a Word document, edit it, refine it, and then use that content to train future things. If you ask it to create like social posts or things like that, it will sound a lot more like you and not super generic. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about prompting. So prompting, again, is how you communicate with this tool and how you interact with it. Good prompt, good output. Bad prompt, bad output. Pretty basic. But I found a lot of folks just don't know how to communicate with this, or they are not thinking of it like, they're not like personifying it. As weird as this is going to sound to probably the majority of you, pretend that this is a human on the other end. I know it's not like sentient or like fully self-aware yet, but if you just sort of shift your mindset to that, you'll start talking to it like it's not just Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft Word. It's very, very different than tools that we've used in the past. So I have a framework basically that I like to use to build a really good prompt. It's called RISE, and that stands for Role, Instructions, Steps, and Examples. So giving it a very specific role, like you're an SEO content writer, you're a social media post creator, you're a guest services review responder. Basically giving it a very specific role, almost as if you were describing the role set for an actual human. Same thing with instructions and steps. Really like plan it out as if you were assigning this to like a entry-level employee. And then give it examples. Again, if you were working with another human, you probably would say, hey, here's how we've created stuff in the past, and not just assume that person's going to know how to do it. So role, instructions, steps, and examples. So then you end up coming up with this pretty like long-winded prompt. And you may be saying, that's great, Mike, but I don't want to like write that long-winded prompt every single time. So we got you. We've created a GPT that you can use as well. It's called Prompt GPT, and it's inside that resource document called Prompt GPT right there. And I'm going to open that up. And the way that Prompt GPT works is you can just sort of button mash a task that you want it to do and not really have a lot of specificity yet. So say I'm going to pick on somebody unless somebody raises their hand. So I need somebody to volunteer a particular like task that you might want this to do, like either social media or blog content or something that you would love AI to do. Anybody want to raise their hand before I pick a victim? I mean volunteer. Yes. A pitch for travel writers? Okay. All right, create a pitch for travel writers? Okay, great. So I'm just going to pop that in, and this GPT that we built uses that framework, that RISE, Role, Instructions, Steps framework, and should start creating that. Just 1 second. It's not exactly what I wanted it to do, so I'm going to
Create a pitch about the White Mountains.
do.
Yeah, you know, that's one thing, yeah.
There we go. For some reason, it wasn't following the initial instructions. But what it 99% of the time does, unless I'm doing a live demo, is goes through and creates that role, instructions, steps, examples inside there. And then you can take that prompt and either paste that into ChatGPT, or I'm going to show you how you build one of these custom GPTs inside the paid version. You can paste that into that instruction set there, So whenever you want to do that task over and over and over again, you just go to that custom GPT and it's ready to go. On that, to build a custom GPT, you have to be inside the paid version, $20 a month. And once you're in there, you can click in the top right-hand corner and go to My GPTs. So if you don't have the paid version, you won't be able to follow along at this moment. And then there's a Create GPT. And then you get this list of fields here that I showed you as an example kind of under the hood of that branding copy document. And you just pop in a name and a description, which is mostly just for your viewing pleasure. And then instructions is where you can paste in that prompt that you've built. And then knowledge is where you can upload files there. This is where you can give it even more information. So if it was for creating pitches, as an example, upload like 20 documents worth of past pitches. And then that will have the tone that you like, the framework, the structure. It's basically training that bot on how to do it. And then capabilities, I just check off every single one of these. I'm sure those are very tiny over there, but it basically gives it the ability to search on the web for live information, for info that it might not have access to, and a whole bunch of other features. So I just check all of those. And then you just click create, and that's it. And then that GPT will then live inside this left-hand column over here. You can pop into there, and then you have your pitch GPT, your sales proposal GPT ready to go. And you can just say, give me a pitch for this target, and then boom, it creates it. Again, is it going to be like copy and paste ready to go? No, but it's like having an assistant that gets you there to 75% in seconds over and over and over again. So I would urge folks that choose to upgrade to the paid version to pick like a small task at first that has like clear examples of what you want the output to be, and just build a GPT. It takes minutes to build one and could save you hours over and over and over again on particular tasks. Yes. Generative pre-trained transformer. Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue. So they stuck with GPT. Yeah, GPT works. Yeah. Yeah, the first time I was presenting, somebody asked me that. I was like, it stands for GPT. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you. So I immediately looked that up. All right. Yeah. So what is a custom GPT? Generative pre-trained transformer. We kind of went over quickly building one. Any other questions on GPTs? Okay. All right. So another feature inside ChatGPT are models. Models are basically like additional kind of add-ons, if you will, but that are included inside the paid version. Some of these are inside the free version. So GPT 4.5 is, again, I would say another reason to upgrade to the $20 a month version. The 4.5 version compared to 4.0, and again, I did not name these things. 4.0 is inside the free version. 4.5 and a bunch of others are in the paid version. It has greatly increased accuracy, a 30% increase bump up in accuracy, which means it hallucinates less. Hallucinating is the PR term they created for like lying like a toddler, pretty much, very confidently. It does that far less. It also has built-in empathy, which is creepy when you think about it, because it's just a like a mimic, of empathy, but we're trained to kind of learn empathy over the years. It's been trained on that as well contextually, so it will engage, right, more human-like, talk about experiences like it experienced it, again, which I know is kind of weird to think about because this is just like zeros and ones in a computer, but that aside, it makes much more human-sounding content, like nearly impossible to tell the difference between it being written by a human and a robot. There's also a feature called projects, which is inside the free version now, I believe. They kind of trickle down features to free users. Projects is basically like folders for your conversations. So if you've used ChatGPT a lot, you get this like forever scroll of conversations in the left-hand side, like your chat history. And sometimes it can be super annoying to find the one that you want. I don't think they added in like a search feature until like a couple of months ago. It was kind of obnoxious. But projects allows you to create a folder, and then you can drag in past conversations if you want to organize them. Or as you have future conversations about a particular topic, if you want to put all of like your pitches into one folder, if you want to put all of your social content creation into another folder, it's just a great way to kind of organize the chaos that is that left-hand sidebar. And then this feature is really cool. It's called scheduled tasks. So you can create a prompt. In this example, I said, every day at 6 a.m., go and do a search on Reddit and find out what consumers are looking into in the ski industry. So what this does every single day is it goes and does a search on Reddit, goes through the top subreddits and Reddits, looks to see if what people are talking about in the ski industry every day at 6 a.m. And then my GPT pops up an alert on my desktop and sends me an email with that content. So it's kind of like a little news kind of aggregator. You can do this for anything and everything though, and it takes seconds to create it. And then every single day it runs that task over and over. So that's just kind of a quick example of what you can use it for. It's a pretty new feature. And I think this is inside the free version as well. And then this next feature is called Deep Research. This is also only inside the paid version. If you have to do lots of, I can't think of any other words, very deep research, like very time-intensive research, it would mean you going through like 20, 30, 40 different websites and trying to find all that content and aggregate it and understand it and put it together. That's what this can do. So it takes minutes to like, lots of minutes to do this task. It's not just like a 10-second instant response. In this example prompt, I just wanted to look for a couple of other like association conferences that were happening on the East Coast. And it took like 7 minutes and 28 seconds to go through about 30 different websites, read all those websites, pulled out the title, pulled out the date, pulled out the website URL for it. If I did that, it would take me a lot more than 7 minutes. I did this while I was making a cold brew, came back, and then boom, I've got all that ready to go inside a spreadsheet. So again, it might sound like I'm drinking all the AI Kool-Aid here, but for like $20 a month, this thing can do like anything and everything. You just have to deep dive into clicking all these buttons and drop downs and fork over $20 a month.
You're a really good salesman.
Yeah, no, if I got commission from this, I would. Right? Yeah.
So you use that for something like, say for us, we're trying to thinking about employee jobs around the White Mountains.
Yep.
Could you put into that find job postings in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and it would draw from?
Yep. As long as it's publicly accessible and not behind like a paywall or, yep. But if there's like a career section on some other resort site, it'll go through and look for the careers page.
Can you take that search and have it like output on page on the website, or would you have to like?
You'd have to copy. So quick answer is yes, you can do that. Slightly longer answer is you have to do like a little bit more like level 2 coding to do it. Yep. Next option is called Canvas. So this is all inside ChatGPT still. It's called Canvas. Think of Canvas as an Google Docs and ChatGPT got together, had a good first date, and then had a baby. So it is kind of game changing if you write a lot of content. Normally, if you hop into ChatGPT and say, write me a blog or an outline on something, you just get this block of content generated and you can't edit it. You have to copy and paste it and put it into a document or keep going back and forth in that conversation and say, make this longer or add bullet points. This instead gives you an output right as a pop-up, as like a Google document, if you will. You can edit the content. You can highlight an area and say, make this like a 4th grade reading level instead of 8th grade reading level. You can highlight another area and say, break this block of content into 8 bullet points just by typing and prompting it. It is super, super cool. So if you do a lot of content writing, it's pretty great. Next is called ChatGPT Search. So not to be confused with Deep Research. Search is a very like quick search and response. Think of this more like doing a single Google search. So if you do a search, I said like, where are some fun things happening inside Burlington this weekend? Instead of it using like the model data that is usually pretty outdated, the stuff that's inside ChatGPT itself can sometimes be up to like a year old. This goes out and does an actual live search and gives you those results in seconds. So think of this as a way, if you, again, don't want to spend time going through ads and things on Google, it just gives you those instant answers at the ready. And all you have to do is click the little search icon that's inside your chat window. Okay, on search, and just kind of spreading some awareness to you all, anybody that's in marketing or looks at marketing reports, you are already seeing and or will continue to see a deep dive in your organic traffic coming to your site, meaning people like that stereotypically go into Google and do a search and click on a link and go to your site. And that's because of these AI tools. More and more people are using them as like an answer engine instead of a results engine. I can get an answer to my question in seconds rather than going through a whole bunch of pages and results inside Google. Like I don't Google anything anymore. I just go into ChatGPT, I get my answer, it shows a source, I can confirm it if need be, but a lot of times I just blindly trust it for better or for worse. But you can always, fact check it. So what does that mean? If you want to show up inside these kind of AI overviews that show up inside Google and other AI tools, to kind of like bottom line it, you mostly just have to do SEO stuff that digital agencies have been like kind of parroting for years that might not have been listened to on every single thing. You really have to do those things now. So having a very positive brand reputation. If your brand is already on like TripAdvisor and Google and things like that, getting more reviews there, responding to those reviews. AI looks at that for people searching for like the best or like the near me kind of searches. That type of data is looked at even more than like your website itself. Making the content on your site very conversational. Think of less of a need to try and like keyword stuff and put in particular keywords. AI understands context like better than we do. So having it be more like kind of question related, frequently asked questions, things like that are going to be these more longer tail kind of searches that people are going to be doing. Put frequently asked questions on your site as well. A lot of times those kind of top page of results that show up are pulling from frequently asked questions when someone has that question. If you can pop that inside there in a very clear format, again, a very easy, near free way to show up inside AI results. And then this one you probably want to talk with like your developer about, but it's called structured data markup. Don't make up the names. This information gets put in the back end of your site, and not only ChatGPT, but also like all the like Alexas and voice kind of agents. When someone's doing a search on Alexa, it's pulling from this information. So if you don't have that inside your site, you might not show up inside like a voice search, which more and more people are using across their devices. And then brand authority. Again, a lot of the stuff is just things that are kind of bottom line for SEO. Getting as many kind of lists on like best of websites or award kind of websites. Some of them that you like have to earn. Some of them are like you pay money and you can kind of show up on. Any of those that are top level and trusted sources get listed on. And then once you have kind of all those things up and running, there is a little note in the slide on here of exactly how to set up this report. But you can set up a very specific AI report inside your Google Analytics. So you can see how much traffic is coming from ChatGPT. Who did a search inside ChatGPT, saw your site, and clicked on that link. By default, you do not have access to this information unless you like set up a custom report inside Google Analytics. And you will start to see a rise in all these AI tools and a decrease in your traffic from Google. And this can kind of give you insights into like, why did my organic traffic like go down 15%? That 15% went to AI tools. Questions?
You said how to do that in business, right?
Yep, there's step-by-step inside the slide notes.
Pertaining to that last slide, do you think eventually
Like ads? The results? Yeah. So are you familiar with Perplexity or heard of Perplexity before? Perplexity is like an AI first search engine, and they already have it. They have you can pay for ads inside there to show up like in the top of the results. I'm sure ChatGPT is seconds away from monetizing this. Like they're not giving you ChatGPT for free out of the kindness of their hearts. They want all of your data. And the crazy thing is, some people put stuff in the ChatGPT that's like deeply personal, and it knows like to the second, oh, this person would probably want to see an ad on this because they were talking about this in their conversation. We put a lot more in the ChatGPT than we do Google. So yeah, my long-winded way of saying, yep, and it's going to be probably yet another advertising kind of portal, if you will, that you need to pour digital marketing money into. Yes?
You were talking about using the regular prompts for searching, for say, things to do in New Hampshire or whatever it would be.
Yep.
Versus doing the search. You said the prompt uses the model, which could be a year old or something.
Correct.
So the model is not going to interact with SEO. It's going to go from memory, from when it was born.
Yep. Think of it as kind of like if you're familiar with the term cache, kind of like a set sort of thing in place. It's like cached up to like 6 to 9 months ago type of a thing. Because it's like billions and billions of bits of data. So for them to keep that model up to the second would cost like a lot more money than they're losing right now. So they just kind of have that set. And then, but that search option allows you to get up to the second information.
So do you know what percentage of people that are using it are, when they're searching for stuff, are they using the search versus the prompt?
I don't have access to that. I don't think I could get access to it, but I'll look into it. But I think as more and more people use the tool, I've noticed when I type in a particular type of prompt, it just auto selects the search for me. If I type in like, where can I get a good slice of pizza near me that's gluten-free, it automatically selects it, and does it. So I think it'll use it more and more because it doesn't want to give a result of something from like 9 months ago and that pizza place is like out of business, type of a thing.
And one more,
yes.
What are the big differences between machine learning and AI?
Oh man, that is a question that I feel weirdly, I'm an AI person up here, unqualified to answer distinctly. I'm just gonna be honest on that one. This guy. Anything else? Okay. All right, we're gonna shift gears a bit outside of ChatGPT and kind of rapid fire show you a couple of other AI tools, mostly just to be aware of as they're coming down the line. Not that you had enough to worry about learning how to do. So this is called Cassidy. It is an AI-powered info hub. What the heck does that mean, Mike? Basically, imagine ChatGPT, so the very kind of familiar chat-based interface. However, you can one-click connect this to select Google Drive folders or select, what is it called? Microsoft, like OneDrive folders, or your Notion, or your SharePoint, and give it live up to the second information. So you could throw in a whole bunch of marketing information, social media posts, whatever you want into a folder. And whenever you put new stuff into that folder, this tool has access to that information without you having to like download that file and drag it inside here. So think of it as kind of creating your own data model with information that you want to give it and be able to create better content and have that sync on like an hourly or daily or weekly basis. So just another tool I wanted to show off. It's very familiar and like ChatGPT, but ChatGPT currently does not have this ability to like live connect it to data. This also has workflows built into it. So Cheryl, you had a question about like, hey, could it do this search and then like post a draft like someplace else? This allows you to create a workflow of like, go do this search, output that data, go put it into like a document, send a Slack message or a Teams note to that teammate with a link to that draft so they can then look at that draft, finalize it, and then that person could paste it in. And like, you do not have to be like a nerd like me to do this. You could just kind of click and point and It's really cool. I think it's $40 a month. But again, if you're doing something over and over and over again, it's taking you like 2 hours, and this makes you take it in 10 minutes, that pays for itself like the first time you use it. Cassidy? Yeah. Yep. If I showed you my dropdown of AI tools in my browser, you probably, like, your brain would implode and explode. So I think I have 45 AI subscriptions.
Do you have an application that you love about each one? Like, do you use Cassidy for one specific thing and then ChatGPT for another? Or
Yeah.
do you just like to stay knowledgeable?
So think of it as, I look at it as like kind of different tools inside like a general contractor's tool belt. Like there's no like one tool, like you can't build a house with just a hammer, kind of like that. So ChatGPT is like my everyday kind of use every waking minute of every day. And then Cassidy, I load in like a bunch of our client information. So I give it access to all of our clients, all their data, all their proposals, past communications. So if I need to like write a communication to them or upsell them on something, it sounds exactly like me writing it, and specifically like pulling from past conversations and info. Like it's wild. Yeah. All right, gonna make sure my speaker is on here because this one requires some audio. This is a free tool. I know you're like, oh, cool, and one that's not like another $40 a month, Mike. So this one is totally free as long as you have a Google account. And it as well is kind of like ChatGPT. So in this example, we pulled some content from Owl's Nest, and you can upload or link websites inside here, upload documents, content, text files, PDFs. I think you can throw in like 60 documents. Google allows you to put in like a ton more data than ChatGPT. And then you can have it create like a study guide, an FAQ, or just have a conversation with all of that like boring data. That by itself doesn't make this like totally unique. What I think makes it really unique and borderline like, anybody here watch Black Mirror before on Netflix? You gotta watch Black Mirror. It's pretty, right on. 7th season is out April 10th, I believe. Basically this can create a human-ish sounding podcast out of your content, of which you can also like interact with if you wish as like a podcast guest. So I'm gonna stop talking about it and get my speaker set up here. All right.
You know how sometimes you're thinking about your next trip and you just really want a place that has options, you know, like you're not just locked into one thing, so you want some variety, right?
Absolutely.
You know, maybe like the White Mountains in New Hampshire.
Yeah, a great space.
Like a beautiful backdrop that, you know, can really set the stage for whatever you're feeling.
Exactly.
And that's what we're diving into today with Owl's Nest Resort.
All right, sounds good.
So this is for you folks out there planning trips, thinking about where to go next.
Yep.
We're taking a deep dive into Owl's Nest, looking at all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
We've got their golf course, we've got where to stay.
So like there's still like tells that it's not human, but that's pretty human adjacent in sounding. And that's the worst it will ever be. Like that's the trashiest version of it. That's just gonna get better and better and better. And they released this, I can't show the demo like live right now, but they released this option where you can click join. So that recording that it creates, it basically makes like an MP3 or a WAV file. You can download it and kind of do with it what you wish. But the thing that I think makes this most powerful, you could put in like a whole ton of information. Like I will, when I'm prospecting a client, I'll pop in like 10 or 15 pages of their website, have this create a podcast for me. And then I just start talking to it and say, hey, like, tell me some more information about it. I'm going to meet them for a sales call. Like, make it look like I read 15 pages of their site, and then just give me bullet points. And then it can give me a list of bullet points to prep for that call. So do I use it to kind of create podcasts and put them out there? No, I don't think you really should do that. But I listened to this whole podcast and made like a 45-minute podcast. It was actually like pretty good. So if you're looking to kind of create like a script or an idea for a podcast, like please go have humans, create that podcast. I don't think we're ready to have this launched out into the world yet. But really cool tool, totally free. Questions, concerns for reality? Okay. Switching to more of a kind of logistical side of things for folks that don't want to just geek out and talk to AI. Anybody here have to create like SOPs, like standard operating procedures, tasks like to-do lists, or like wish that the place that they worked at had them? This lets you create those in a very easy format. So before I came across this tool, I basically had to like take a screenshot, paste it into like Microsoft Word, type a caption of like step 1, do this, step 2, do that. No more. This tool is called Scribe. They have a free version, and then again, they're all like $20 a month, a $20 like unlimited version. And basically what it does is allows you to go do that action. Say it's like how to add a new customer into our CRM. You just open up your CRM as quickly as you want. Click, click, type, scroll down, click. And then seconds after you're done, it records that entire step of things that you're doing, creates a screenshot, highlights where your mouse is on the screen, writes a caption of click accounts in the top left-hand corner, and then you can go review that, change the text if something needs to get modified, recreate like a single screenshot if you need to. And then all you need to have is one license for this, like a $20 a month license for you as like the admin of it. And then you can share this with either a password or open to anybody on your team. So think of every like onboarding procedure, HR, and anything that you can think of to create a very step-by-step process. So when that new employee comes on board, you give them access to this. And then if they have questions, they talk to that senior level person instead of that senior level person having to show them like step-by-step how to do it. So we have this for our firm. It saves us way more than $20 a month for all of our trainings. And then next, a more kind of like just useful tool. Most of the systems that we use for teleconferencing, Zoom, Meet, Teams, have an AI option that you can enable or turn on. Depending on the version that you're in, you might have to pay for an upgrade. But Zoom, I'm sure many of you have seen this, or like their Otter AI kind of thing that comes into the chat. It basically records that entire conversation, transcribes it, creates an action item list of anything that said, hey, this person has to do that, and sends it off to all of their participants. That being said, I don't like having to learn like different versions of those AIs inside Zoom and Hangouts and whatnot. So I use this one piece of software called Limitless. It's a paid subscription. You guessed it, $20 a month. And it allows me to record everything from Zoom, Hangouts, phone call, and even in person. I have a little pendant that I can wear on my shirt. And if I'm in person, it records that conversation as well in AI. And it also preps me before the call. So again, because I've given up all of my privacy, you give this access to your Gmail or Outlook, email and calendar. And before I hop into the meeting, it gives me a prep of, you talked with Cheryl last week. These are the questions that are likely going to be on the call today, and preps you for that call. And then you can have conversations with that data, gives you an action item list. I use this in every single call, and then I can do a follow-up email. I usually wait a minute, and then, yes?
So if you have like an Alexa or a HomePod,
Yep.
can you do that in person meetings? Or do you have to have that thing described?
So is the question like if you have an Alexa and
you
you're,
have an in-person meeting,
yep.
you have an Alexa, can it listen and describe for you just like you describe?
Alexa cannot currently, but I think in about a month, Alexa Plus is coming out. And Alexa Plus is, you're like, great. Alexa Plus will be free for everybody that has what's it called? The paid version of Amazon Prime. Everybody that has Prime, they get Alexa Plus for free. But it is like creepy human sounding, like those voices, lifelike. And you can actually like ask it like, hey, what's on my appointments? They're probably going to have some sort of an AI recording thing in that too. At this exact second though, no.
Are
Yeah. So I have it. I can show you to you after today. It looks kind of like this one. This is like my microphone for today, but the pendant is this big. It's black and it just kind of fits right in on my jacket. And then when I'm meeting with someone, it has a consent mode built in as well. So it has like a little light. And if I sit down with someone and say, hey, I'd love to record this meeting so I can be more present and not have to take notes, and I'll send them to you after. And if I'm sitting down with you, is it Rob or Chris? Chris. And I'm like, hey, Chris, can I record this? And you're like, nope on a rope. I don't want that at all. It listens to that and automatically turns off the light and stops recording it. And if you say yes, it just continues recording it. And there's like no tech. You just hit a little button, it records it, and then adds it into that same app in the cloud. Yeah. Oh no, the device. So I got in real early, like a year and a half ago, pre-ordered it, and mine just came last week. So I've been using it a lot, and I got it for $100. It's now $500, which is like fucking crazy. They got a lot of people that wanted to record in-person meetings, I guess. But if you have a lot of in-person meetings and you're in sales, well worth $500. If not, you might want to look at like a Plod.
Used it in like a group conference setting, like we're talking about, it's like, well, we have our team meetings with 7 or 8 of us.
Yep.
We don't have anyone scribing.
Yep.
So for the people that miss the meetings and or need to have to-do lists, have you experienced that work for 7 or 8 people in a room, or is it really meant for one-on-one?
If it was like around like one of these tables, and not like this, like it would do a bad job at this, but like 7 people in a room, yeah. What it's not perfect at yet is distinguishing between everybody else's voices. It has you train it on your own voice though, so like it knows what I sound like and says, this is Mike, and eventually it learns what other people are as well, which is also creepy, but yeah. All right, hang on time, 1:37. All right. Next tool we're going to talk about is one with the worst possible brand name ever, but a really cool tool. It's called Bland. They actually had a Super Bowl commercial, which I thought was pretty cool. We've been using them for about 2 years now. Bland is like conversational AI. So you can call into like a reception or a front desk, and an AI auto attendant picks up the call. So the way that it works is for $15 a month. Hey, it's not 20, but 6 cents a minute. It can handle your inbound calls, answer questions about your resort or property. You can train it just like a GPT. You can give it all this information about your organization, every cancellation policy, your room makeups, what is inside each room type, is there a microwave, is there a fridge, all the silly questions that people ask over and over again. You can give it a specific voice that you want. And then even more cool, you can integrate this into what are called APIs. APIs, for those that don't know all the geeky acronyms that I do, is like a handshake between 2 different pieces of software. So you can give it that handshake between your reservation software, the spa calendar, the OpenTable account, and the person can actually make that appointment, and it puts it inside the calendar or makes that reservation request. Yep, it can integrate with anything that has an API, and Salesforce has an API. Yep.
Do you have to, like, is there like over firewalls and all that, and you actually people have to get involved to let it integrate with Salesforce?
Yeah, with APIs, it's basically like to kind of just super simplify it so I don't go down a rabbit hole. It gives you kind of like a hash token, like a key from IT. You go into Salesforce, you paste that in, and it's like a key that nobody else knows, and then that allows it to connect. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is management. That's pretty great. All right, so I'm going to try another live demo, and hopefully we go good here. So one of our clients called Greek Peak Resort in New York, they wanted to replace their phone tree. They were kind of actively looking to replace their normal kind of like auto attendant, which is usually like a, thanks for calling like this resort. We care about you. Listen to these 15 different options before you can press a button. But again, we really care about you. People don't really love having to listen to all of those things. So this originally was kind of made to replace that, because it allows you to say like, hey, like my neck hurts, and it will automatically be like, oh, you should think about like a massage at the Cascade, massage spa. Would you like me to transfer you over for an appointment? And they've been using it for about 6 or 7 months now. The cool thing about it is it's greatly reduced by about 35% reduction in transferring to a human, meaning that they're able to get answers to like, can I bring my dog? What's your cancellation policy? When's check-in? When's checkout? Like, when's the dining place open? These questions that humans at the front desk do not want to answer. They don't get paid nearly enough to do it, in transparency. And it allows them to, more importantly, at that front desk, handle the humans that are right there in front of them. I've lost track of how many times I've checked into a hotel or resort, and there's like 1 or 2 people at the front desk, and they're on the phone, there's like, wait, like 1 minute, and like sometimes it's like 5 minutes. And it's that little kind of pebble in the shoe for the experience, like I'm right there. So really cool piece of software. Gonna do a quick demo here, hopefully.
Thanks for calling Greek Peak Mountain Resort and Hope Lake Lodge. This call may be recorded. I'm Alexandra. I am an automated attendant here to help. Is there something I can help you with, or is there a department at the resort I can transfer you to? If you know your party's extension, please press 8.
Hey, Alex, when is check-in?
Check-in time is 4 p.m. and checkout is 11 a.m. Would you like me to transfer you to reservations for more information or to book a room?
No, thanks. I've got a Nissan Leaf. Do you guys have EV charging?
Yes, we have EV chargers with L1 connections on site, so you can charge your vehicle during your stay. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I've got a little mini Bernedoodle puppy. Can I bring her along?
Unfortunately, Hope Lake Lodge is not pet friendly, except for certified service animals. However, if you're interested, our Hope Lake campground does allow pets, and you can also look into RVing options there. Would you like more information on that?
No, thanks. I gotta go, but thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Goodbye.
So again, that's like not perfectly human sounding yet. It's still obvious that it's a robot, but it's getting better. And like, I just spoke to it just as fast as I would talk to a human. And $15 a month, 6 cents a minute. And on the flip side of that, it can also make outbound calls. We're starting to set that up for clients and Greek Peak. So one of the things I found out about Greek Peak is they're paying like this out-of-state kind of call center like 90 days after to be like, hey, would you like to come back for a stay? If you come back in the next 6 months, you get 30% off. And like a human being is doing that over and over and over again. This can do that for like 30 cents and have a pre-recorded message of the person's like, yup, I would love to pay right now and do that. It then transfers them to the reservation center to lock in that promo. And if they say no, it just takes them off that list and stops, calling them. So very cool stuff.
Does it have a text version as well?
It does. Yep.
So that it can text individuals.
Yep. All right. We are at the finish line here. I'm coming right up on time. All right. So my challenge for you all, I gave you a ton of stuff today, and I would not be surprised if your brains are like imploding, exploding, want to grab a drink. There's a lot. But my challenge to you all is to pick ChatGPT or Copilot, kind of whatever your AI tool is of choice, and use it for 7 days straight. I would urge this the most for the folks that have not used these tools that might want to try them. Use it for 7 days, get the paid version, try out some of the stuff that I did. Guaranteed you're going to find something that saves you at least 5 minutes a day, but probably a lot more. Invite AI to every meeting. So try out Limitless or the AI tool inside your particular meeting software to take notes and transcribe it and see how good it is. Build a custom GPT if ChatGPT is of your choice. And then on day 8, shoot me an email and say, Mike, you're saving me like a ton of time. You're awesome. You're a rock star. Or like, AI is the devil. I wish I didn't watch your presentation. Let me know either or. I want to know. And then all those tools that we talked about, they're linked throughout the presentation in the notes, but there's also a slide here that has links to all those tools and then a bunch of others. One of my like kind of new favorites is called Suno, and you can use it to create music with a prompt. Anybody here have kids or grow up with Raffi, like the 80s? Yeah, like Baby Beluga, stuff like that. So one of the first things I did was popped in Baby Beluga lyrics and then said, make it death metal. And it just is so, so awesome. It's super, super fun. And then if you want to dive down the rabbit hole as much as I have with AI, these are all 100% free, not $20 a month. Tools and courses and certifications from Google, Microsoft, Harvard. Again, just to kind of get more understanding of how things work. And then my 5 seconds of shameless plug. If you want me to do this for your resort, your property, your business, and come in and like individually train all those people so they can actually save 5 minutes, 5 hours, a week, that's probably like my most favorite thing to do. Even if I didn't get paid money and had stuff coming in from other sources, I would just do that because it's like changing people's lives to be able to not do super tedious things. So shoot me an email or a text if you want to learn more about that. And I think we are kind of at 1:46, so on time-ish. And then if you want a copy of this presentation, just send a text to of Skynet to 802-865-2000 or shoot me an email and I'll send you all the slides. Any final questions, thoughts? Yes.
A lot of us have Microsoft 365, so there's a Copilot.
Yep.
How's that equal to a free version or a paid version?
Not great. Interesting. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Anything else? Yes.
On the other side of things, from the customer standpoint, are you seeing a lot of people starting to do this instead of just Googling?
Yeah.
They're trying to, plan my visit or the...
We're just seeing it in like our own clients. So Eternity's kind of bread and butter is website design, digital marketing, SEO, and then AI just happens to be like our biggest kind of growing trend. So on all of our client sites, we have that report set up that I showed you that tracks like traffic coming in. Because when we first started seeing organic dips like across all of our clients, I was like, what the fork? Like, what is happening? And then we started tracking all the AI usage, and it's like, yeah, there's a trend of that. People want an answer like this. They don't want to always go through ads. And yeah, you can have these tools like plan your entire itinerary. Like last time I went to San Francisco, because it knows everything about me that I gave it access to, I said, give me a 1 week full itinerary, 3 meals a day that are within 1 mile walking distance from my hotel. It knows everything about me and just made me a perfect itinerary with driving directions, a recommendation of what item to get on the menu. And it's like fantastic. But that data still gets pulled like from your website. So does that mean that if your organic traffic is going down, that's bad? Not necessarily, because I went to that like restaurant, I went to that different attraction. I didn't even really even go to their website. I just trusted what the AI said and showed up. So it still kind of had that benefit at the end, but just less traffic showing on the website. Right on. All right.
Do you have a recommended chatbot? Like you said you build websites.
Yep.
And there's a for websites to have chatbots.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
We have 2. So one, bias, because we built our own, gets integrated into all of our clients' websites now. So like when you build a new website with us, we have ChatGPT integrated into the back end of our sites. So for content creation, for anybody have to fill out like the alt tags, like to describe like what an image is for ADA, you just click one button and it generates the alt tag. And then has a chatbot built in that live connects to all the content on your site. But if you don't build one with us, there is a tool that we recommend, literally called chatbot.com. And it as well can be trained on the data of your website. So you pop in your URL, it indexes all the pages on your site and is really good with minimal additional training on answering questions. And then you can kind of program in all these different flows of if this person asks about this, this always like really needs a human to pop in, and it can send in a notification to a human agent to pop into that conversation like mid AI chat and say, let me help you with this. You sound frustrated. Very cool. All right.
How do you feel about Google? Like,
Yeah.
obviously now when I Google something, it feels like it's just AI generated results well before you get to the actual.
Sure is. Yeah.
Is that GPT competitive edge? Are you seeing people using that?
I think Google, I mean, they still have like 89.9% like market share of search because Google's like an adjective and we've been using it forever. But as these AI tools get better and better and like free and give us the results that we want, I see no reason I don't use Google at all really anymore. But like for driving directions, that's pretty much the only thing that I use it for now. I just only use ChatGPT and other tools. But again, it's still going to be the primary one. And unless you kind of do all those steps of making your site show up inside those AI summaries, you won't show up inside that stuff as much, and you might be kind of missing out. When the AI overviews first came out, they were really, really bad. I don't know if you guys remember, like in the news, people were like trolling it and saying like, how can I make cheese stick to pizza better? And the AI, I am not making this up, said, you should try glue. So, and it's because, and it didn't like hallucinate it. It did not make that up. And you might be like, whoa, that's not real. But the Onion, which is a like reputable but completely fake news source, the onion.com is basically just parody news. It had an article on there that was written, like it looks like a CNN article, but they're just kind of joking content. It had pulled from there, and it didn't know what was real and not. So yeah, let's not give it the nuclear codes just yet. So, yeah. Alrighty, I think that wraps us on up. Unless there's one final question.
This is
Cool.
really great.
Thank you so much.